Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about my early running back rankings. Inside this video, we're going to go over my top 6 for the 2021 fantasy football season. Obviously, I'm recording this in March. The fantasy draft season is pretty much at the end of August to early September, so these rankings have the potential to change. Why? People could get traded, people can get hurt, and things move up and down as my opinion on these players change based upon the draft, because new guys could be brought in, the offensive line could be changed, and the offensive line kind of has a big part in a fantasy football running back success. So before we get into it, I want to ask if that at any point inside of this top 6 running back video, if you end up enjoying it, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win your 2021 fantasy football championship. And if you guys are into the NFL draft, I also make NFL draft content here on the channel. So let's get into it. We begin at number 1, and yet again, just like last year, I'm gonna go back to the well, and we're going with Run CMC, Christian McCaffrey, running back of the Carolina Panthers. Now, definitely, I will understand people being a little bit scared of Christian McCaffrey right now if you're doing best ball drafts, because the fact is that it seems like he may get traded to the Houston Texans. Early on, a couple of weeks ago, I read a report that, hey, the Houston Texans might be interested in moving away Deshaun Watson in exchange for Christian McCaffrey, a first-round pick, I think another first-round pick, and multiple second-round picks to acquire Deshaun Watson. So maybe that actually ends up happening, and then Christian McCaffrey just fucking takes a nosedive down the rankings. So right now, though, Christian McCaffrey, as long as he's a Carolina Panther, will be the number 1 overall pick for me and the number 1 overall running back off the board. Again, Christian McCaffrey only played in 3 games last season due to injury, but he still averaged 30 PPR points per game, 27.3 half PPR points per game, and 24.5 standard points per game in those 3 games in 2020. In 2019, a kicker, even better. He legitimately played even better. 30.1 PPR points per game. Now, his half PPR points were down, as well as standard points per game were down, but his PPR points were up. 25.8 half PPR points per game in 2019, as well as 22.2 standard points per game, which finished the season as number 1 overall at the position. That season, he was also number 4 in carries at the running back position in all 16 games. Number 1 in the target department with 143, which is 8.9 per game, which is more than most wide receivers. Number 1 in receptions, number 1 in receiving yards, and number 1 in total touchdowns, as well as number 3 in rushing yards. This guy does it all. Now, I would go in insane depth about Christian McCaffrey, but everyone already knows how great Christian McCaffrey is. Doesn't matter who the fucking quarterback is, which was obvious from last season. We saw him with Teddy Bridgewater. He is great. We've seen him with Cam Newton. He is great. We've seen him with Kyle Allen. He is great. It legitimately doesn't matter. If they end up drafting a guy in the first round, they draft Trey Lance, if he gets slingshot out there, it will not matter, because Christian McCaffrey is a focal point of this offense. They switch head coaches. Riverboat Ron is out. They bring a new guy in 2020. Does not matter. He's still great. So I want you guys to understand that as long as Christian McCaffrey rehabbed correctly, which he will have, and as long as he doesn't get traded to the Houston Texans or get shipped off, and as long as the offensive line doesn't crumble before the season starts, Christian McCaffrey is going to be a running back 1, and in my opinion, has the highest chance to be a running back 1, because week in, week in, week out, this guy is just so consistent. And his down games, when he goes down bad, he's going to get you like 15 points. Most running backs, you would have a wet dream if they drop 15 points. That's just McCaffrey's bad game. His good game is 40 points. His good game, he's averaging 30 points. So just imagine what it takes to do that. It's scoring 30 points pretty much every single week, and he barely ever dips below it. It is insane how consistent Christian McCaffrey is, and I really do believe that he is going to be just fine in 2021, again, as long as he is not traded. Coming up at number 2, we have Dalvin Cook, running back of the Minnesota Vikings. I don't even have to say running back, because these guys are all running backs now. Dalvin Cook is the guy that, I'm going to be honest with you, last year I painted the narrative like fucking Picasso, that this guy is injury prone. And you know what? I was wrong. At this point, you just throw that right out the window. In the last 2 years, he's missed 2 games in the last 2 seasons, meaning he missed 2 games in 2020, 2 games in 2019. Cook finished the 2020 season with 24.1 PPR points per game, 22.6 half PPR points per game, and 21 standard points per game. Dalvin Cook has taken himself into exactly what we thought Dalvin Cook would be. I was just a little bit worried about the injury last year. That's why I was kind of fading him a little bit. No longer will I be using my brain to do mental gymnastics against Dalvin Cook. The guy is a fucking mutant, like he's a Ninja Turtle out there. That's how good he is on the football field. Cook rushed the ball 312 times, second at running back for 1,500 rushing yards, second at running back. He also had 44 receptions, 14th at running back, and 54 targets, 15th at running back, and 361 receiving yards, 10th at running back. Now I know in fantasy football we're really chasing the pass-catching running backs, but when you have a guy that's going to rush for 1,500 yards potentially and score 17 total touchdowns, second at running back, you're going to be very happy with him. And he also had the most red zone touches over the whole running back position. So Dalvin Cook is legit. Even if there's going to be the talk up of the century of holy shit, they have Adam Thielen, they have Justin Jefferson, who really tore it apart last season, but they still have Dalvin Cook. He's still going to get his rushes, and unless the guy goes down, there's no competition behind him. I understand Alexander Madison's a good player. I understand Mike Boone's behind him, but it does not matter because he is the workhorse on this system, and they have Kirk Cousins for a reason. This guy is a glorified game manager. I personally think he has the skill set to not be one, but in this system in Minnesota, he is a game manager quarterback. So they're just going to try to give the ball to Dalvin Cook as many times as possible so that Kirk Cousins can't fuck it up, so that at the end of the game, when they win, he could be screaming, you like that. You're going to be liking it a whole lot if you end up drafting Dalvin Cook in 2021. I am no longer aboard the narrative train that Dalvin Cook is injury prone. We've seen what he's done, and even if he just plays 14 games again, right, played 14 games 2019, 14 games 2020, he plays 14 games again next year, you're going to be very happy with the production and with how Dalvin Cook carried you all the way to your fantasy football Super Bowl. This guy is very good at catching, very good at rushing on a very solid team with the Minnesota Vikings. And if they build their defense more, maybe we can see them run a bit more, because they won't be as down in these games. Because the Vikings last year were down tremendous. They were actually terrible compared to what I thought the Minnesota Vikings would be. At number 3, we are at the halfway mark in this video. So if you guys have ended up enjoying, again, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. We got Alvin Kamara, running back of the New Orleans Saints. Now, again, guys, if you end up disagreeing with what I'm saying, just let me know down below, and we can have a nice discourse about it down below in the comment section. If you think Alvin Kamara is the running back one, let me know, because this year, unlike other years, I am not 100% sold in that Christian McCaffrey is necessarily the running back one, right? He really, to me, he is, but I won't argue with you if you say, oh, Alvin Kamara's better than him. Oh, Dalvin Cook's better than him. I won't argue with that. There are some players that I would, but these top 3 guys, McCaffrey, Cook, and Kamara, if you took any of them at number 1, I would not judge you at all. Now, when it comes to Alvin Kamara this year, it really depends who the quarterback is of the New Orleans Saints. Now, obviously, there's still Drew Brees hasn't retired yet. We saw a couple days ago, Drew Brees posted a video of him running, and he's like fucking pushing something, and he's working out. Will he come back? Personally, I don't know. You can't really have that moment where you look back, and it was like he had a cowboy hat. He took his cowboy hat on, he left it on the field, and he walked out of New Orleans. Given that last look after the game, they're having this fucking kumbaya after the game. Drew Brees, his kids, Tom Brady is there. It's like a final sayonara, final goodbye, and it was beautiful. It made me shed a tear, because my whole life, Drew Brees has been in the NFL. My whole life, I thought Drew Brees would be a Miami Dolphin, but Nick Saban fucked me right in the ass, and it will always burn. But Nick Saban produced Tua, who's going to be the greatest quarterback to ever grace the gridiron, as I would say as a Dolphins fan, wink wink. But to get back to it, if Drew Brees is back, we're good. But if Taysom Hill decides to somehow become the starting quarterback, then we are bad news bears when it comes to Alvin Kamara. Because during the weeks when Drew Brees was gone, weeks 11 through 14, we saw a very strong dip in Alvin Kamara's production. He went from being a top 10 guy, pretty much a top 5 guy every single week, being like the number 1 or number 2 guy, to falling outside of the top 10, to falling outside of the top 25 twice out of those 4 games. Why is it? Because it seems like Taysom Hill has some vendetta against fellow running back Alvin Kamara and just doesn't like to hand it to him, doesn't like to dump it off to him. Drew Brees is the dump-off aficionado, like Michael Thomas is the slant aficionado. Now, if it's Mac Jones, maybe they draft him. If it's Jameis Winston, I'm still drafting Alvin Kamara. But if it ends up being Taysom Hill, I am going to be running for the hills. Get it? Hills. I'm just going to be 50 shades of scared when it comes to Alvin Kamara if Taysom Hill is the starting quarterback. Kamara finished the 2020 season 25.2 PPR points per game, 22.5 half PPR points per game, and 19.7 standard points per game. With Kamara, we don't really have to worry too much about his rushing upside, right? There's the potential that he rushes for 100 yards, or 100 yards, yeah, obviously. If he rushes for 1,000 yards, then you're happy, right? Last season, only touted the rock 15th most at the running back position for 187 carries, rushing for 937 rushing yards, 13th at running back, right? But it doesn't fucking matter because he also catches the ball a zillion times. He had 107 targets, second at running back, 83 receptions, first at running back, 756 receiving yards, first at running back, for 21 total touchdowns, number 1 at running back. Now, the touchdown number is inflated, unlike a football in New England, by that one game. I don't remember how many touchdowns he scored. Off the top of my head, I honestly think it was 5. It was either Christmas Eve or Christmas. This man went to absolute pound town on the defense of the Minnesota Vikings. It was honestly fucking crazy to see. I think it was up against the Vikings. I apologize if I'm saying this wrong, but Alvin Kamara literally just railed them to death. Brutally. Without the use of lube. So it elevates his stats, but that still counts. You can't just discount a game where the guy goes ham, right? You really can't. Alvin Kamara is amazing. Again, I will not judge you if you draft him number 1 overall at the running back position. At number 4, we have the beast from the East, running back Derrick Henry of the Les Titans of the Houston Oilers, the Tennessee Titans. That is 6'3", 247 pounds of pure fucking beast. In 2020, 20.8 PPR points per game, 22.2 half PPR points per game, and 19.6 standard points per game. This man is the definition of old school running back. He's not going to catch any passes, frankly. He probably will not catch a single pass. The fact that the productivity on Player Profiler shows that he only has 1 drop, to me, is shocking. This guy only saw 31 targets last year, 38th at running back, and 46 receptions, or 19 receptions, I should say, 46th at the running back position. So he's not going to get any targets. That's why there is very little separation between the 19.6 standard points per game compared to the 20.8 PPR points per game, because he's not going to get any targets. But it doesn't fucking matter. You want to know why? Because this motherfucker ran for 2,000 rushing yards. 126.7 per game. Is that Madden numbers? No, it's real. It's literally, it's insane. 378 carries, number 1 at running back. Okay? Touchdowns, 17 total touchdowns, number 2 at running back. It doesn't matter. If he can't catch the ball, it literally doesn't matter. And that's the craziest part about it, because I don't think the guy will ever be able to catch balls. And if he was able to, he could legitimately be the number 1 running back, strictly if he was catching 2 balls a game, because that's an additional 2 PPR points, 1 half PPR point, and a couple of yards as well for standard. Derrick Henry is a beast. He's built different. Now, the thing with Derrick Henry that you have to understand, though, is when you draft him, for some reason, this guy is a slow starter. At least it seems like it. It seems like the first couple of weeks he's going to be a little bit iffy, but then deep down the stretch, once it gets a little bit cold, Derrick Henry goes for murder shots. This guy just absolutely kills it when it gets a little bit cold. It's because it's harder to tackle Derrick Henry, I guess, is the narrative that I've heard. But what I do know is Derrick Henry is going to be good again in 2021. Probably will be the rushing yard leader, unless he gets hurt, knock on wood, again. He's just that good at rushing the rock. It's fucking crazy because no one plays really anymore like Derrick Henry. No one just rushes the ball, will run directly at you, will make you look like a little boy if you try to tackle him, fucking stiff arm you into the next dimension, okay? That's what he does. No other running back is really doing that because Christian McCaffrey, he might stiff arm you, but he probably won't. Probably just spin, move around, right? And he's going to do a lot with his receiving work. Dalvin Cook, will do a lot with receiving work. Alvin Kamara will do a lot with receiving work. Derrick Henry doesn't give a fuck about catching the ball, and that's the best part about him because he is consistent every single week, and as long as he scores potentially a touchdown every single week, I mean, he's going to get 20 points per game. So you're going to be very happy with Mr. Derrick Henry in 2021. Yet again, they're bringing back pretty much the same team to run it back turbo. So I really do like the Titans again, and I like Derrick Henry. At number 5, we have my main man, Saquon Barkley, running back of the New York Football Giants. Now, originally, when I was thinking about my rankings overall, I kind of was fading. I was hit him with a Michael Jordan fade away for Saquon Barkley. I was a little bit worried, right? The guy tore his ACL. I'm like, I don't know, man. And then my brain just had an epiphany. It cost me 50 at Tiffany's type deal, where I realized that Saquon Barkley is simply an alien. He is. Because if you guys remember 2019, this guy hurts something. And they're like, all right, a month and a half, right? This motherfucker comes back in like 3 weeks, okay? His body is built different. You see all these people saying, oh, he's built different. Saquon Barkley is legitimately etched out of stone like a Greek god, okay? His quads are so sexy, it's unreal, okay? But Saquon Barkley is good. In 2020, he had a down year. Even in the fact that he played 3 games, he was fucking bad the first couple of weeks, and I am pretty worried that the fact that Daniel Jones has not figured it out, the fact that the offensive line kind of sucks wee-wee, I'm a little bit worried. But again, he's Saquon Barkley, and he probably would have figured it out. He averaged 7.7 PPR points per game in 2020, 6.2 half PPR points per game, with 4.7 standard points per game. Though in 2019, when he played 13 games, he only missed 3 from that injury that should have taken literally a month and a half, and he averaged 18.8 PPR points per game, 16.8 half PPR points per game, and 14.8 standard points per game. Don't put the injury-prone narrative on Saquon Barkley. It is a little bit worrisome that typically maybe it takes more than 1 year to recover from the ACL fully. Like, he should be fine to play next year, but there is obviously the narrative that, oh, it might take a little bit longer. But then the only human I've ever seen built like Saquon Barkley, Adrian Peterson had his best year ever after the ACL tear when I was a little bit younger. So don't actually, take that out, because I don't want to necessarily say that Saquon Barkley is going to have his best season, but it wouldn't fucking surprise me. It really would not, because of how good Saquon Barkley is. In 2019, the man rushed for 1,000 rushing yards, 15th most at the running back position, had 438 receiving yards, 11th most at the running back position, and scored a combined number of touchdowns. That was very nice, as they like to say in Borat, very nice, at 8, which was 12th at running back. The guy's just very good overall player. He gets it done rushing, he gets it done receiving, and there's the potential that he plays even better, because he only played in 13 games in 2019, probably would have scored a lot more touchdowns. And if Daniel Jones figures it out and Joe Judge is the real deal, I can really see Saquon Barkley having a tremendous 4th year of his NFL career in 2021. And you're going to feel like a complete dumbass when I know for a fact Saquon will probably be like the top 3 pick by the time it's the 2021 draft season right in August. But a lot of people drafting in best ball right now, where it just sets your lineup for you, but they're going to feel like absolute buffoons waiting on Saquon Barkley to like the 8th pick. So I really do feel like Saquon's going to have yet another good season. And just, I was just off originally, like a couple of weeks ago when I made that video. I was just really off. Like, my brain has really turned back onto Saquon Barkley because of how good the guy is. At number 6, this was a tough spot, because if I'm being honest with you, after Saquon, there's like Zeke, there's a couple of other guys, Chubb, that could be the number 6 guy. And there's a lot of debate right there, and personally, I'm going to lean with Jonathan Taylor. Now, if you want to tell me that, hey, I think that maybe Austin Eckler's better, or I think that Nick Chubb's better, I think Aaron Jones is better, I think that, Josh Jacobs, he's going to be good again, I think that, well, Josh Jacobs, I would tell you that's a bit wrong, but really, there's a lot of guys that, in my opinion, could finish inside the top 6, but I love Jonathan Taylor. In his rookie season, this man put up 16.9 PPR points per game, 15.7 half PPR points per game, and 14.5 standard points per game. And we thought that this was going to take a couple of weeks for this guy to take over the backfield, right? But week 1, it was a gift and sadness at the same time, right? Because Marlon Mack, I like Marlon Mack personally as a running back. He gets hurt week 1. and then instantly is out for the season, which sucks. Obviously, you don't want that to fucking happen. When you drafted Jonathan Taylor, personally, I thought it would take like 6 weeks. Then he's the starting running back. Then he's great, right? But magically, fucking look at the flip, like just a snap of a finger. I honestly don't know how to snap, and it's kind of embarrassing. But at the snap of a finger, someone could do it for me. Send me a clip, and I'll use your snap next time. At the snap of a finger, the motherfucker is dead. He's hurt. I don't want to make it sound like that, right? He gets hurt. And then now Jonathan Taylor skyrockets directly to the moon like Dogecoin. And then what was crazy is he plays very good the first couple of weeks, and then he really had to slow down from week 8 against Detroit all the way until week 11 versus Green Bay. And then he started turning it on, and then he was push to start, push to start. That fucking song about having a sex drive, that's push to start. Jonathan Taylor was a push to start at the end of the season. This man's blowing defenses out. Week 17 against Jacksonville, tattoos him, 38.4 points. Number 1 at the running back position. He is very good. He had 8th highest carries in the NFL despite not technically even being the starter at the beginning of the year. He did have a decent amount of targets, but I do obviously have to tell you that with Nyheim Hines there, it's a little bit worrisome for Jonathan Taylor's potential to really elevate himself as a really good pass-catching running back. He did have 36 receptions, though, 299 receiving yards. He finished 3rd highest in the rushing category in the NFL and had 12 total touchdowns, 4th at the running back position. So the guy is very good, and that's just his rookie year. Now we're going to have a whole nother offseason where he's going to be able to train. They're bringing in Carson Wentz, a more mobile quarterback, so this might be very good news for young Jonathan Taylor in Indianapolis. So let me know down below what you guys thought about my top 6 running backs down below in the comment section. I love reading the feedback. I hope you had a great time watching this video. I hope you always have fun watching my videos. I do love you all. And I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your Thursday. After this is up, I have to write a fucking paper. So have fun to me. Press F to pay respects for the fact that I have to write a paper after this. Pretty sad, but it is what it is. We'll be back again tomorrow on Friday with, guess what? Another banger. What will it be? Who knows, but it will be good. I love you all. Thank you guys all so much for the support recently. We are almost at, I believe, 11.5 thousand subscribers, which is amazing. My goal is to hit 30,000 by the end of this season, the 2021 season. So yeah, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm sorry if I said a couple of times in this video, but it is what it is. Have a great rest of your guys' day. As always, goodbye.